We're 4 songs away from the week's hot and toxic takes, but right now we've got OTA Me ASAP on Pittsburgh's #1 hit music station.
B94.
Pittsburgh's #1 hit music station with the official 90 forecast from Dennis Bowman and the weather outside. Might want to bring an extra outfit if you're raging the rapids at Kennywood. High of 82 on Friday, but it's getting down to 58 when the sun goes down. The hits roll on WBZZ Pittsburgh.
It's the biggest chance I've ever got to ask away about the days he fought. It's a dream come true. Now it's time for a big shot. Levon Kirkland, legend on the mic. Gonna hear the stories, gonna feel the hype. A Steelers legend, all 90s team. Sacking Cowboys in a Super Bowl dream. Here comes 99. Here comes 99. It's the biggest chance I've ever got to ask away about the days he fought. It's a dream come true. Oh yeah. And now it's time for a beat. It's the biggest chance I've ever got to ask away about the days he fought. We're bringing back the days of Cower Power. Kirkland's here in half an hour.
B94, Pittsburgh's #1 hit music station, and you know what the sound means. We're looking for caller number 10, 333-9494. You'll get a 4-pack of tickets to the new escape room based on the ghost bomber of the Monongahela. Not eligible to children under 5 feet or women who are pregnant or nursing. From the station where the music never stops more than twice an hour.
B94.
Another summertime in Pittsburgh, PA. But we won't see Cameron playing today. a giant check that says, pay to the order of Captain Cam. We want him wearing black and gold again.
B94, I'm Kyle Chrise. Tune into Quinn and Banana in the morning. We've got tickets to skip the line at the new Shake Shack. But right now, here's Steelin' Soul on the station where the music never stops more than twice an hour.
B94. Sound the battle cry. Battle cry, battle cry. Boots on the field, yeah. We make some noise. We make noise. We make noise. The black and gold swarms with a heart of steel. Of steel, of steel, of steel. Tomlin's at the helm. At the helm, at the helm. And it's all so real. So real, so real, so real. Cause I'm watching, and I'm leading, and I'm winning. I'm with the team I'm rooting for. I'm strategizing, never quitting, black and yellow, flowing through my core. Cause it's crunch time, crunch time, crunch time, crunch time. And the steel curtain, whoa, curtain, curtain, curtain. We blitzing, with the force we're bringing more. I'm commanding, I'm command. Steel spine vision, 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 vision. Steel city, pumping in my soul. We got the power, power, power in every hour, hour, hour. Pittsburgh rushes in. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Defense like iron, like iron. Positions firing, 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 firing. But we're here to win. We're here to dominate.
Yoy!
I'm not gonna worry about your level of concern.
Yoy and double yoy!
We talking about Twitter.
Triple yoy!
Think of how stupid the average person is, and then realize half of them are stupider than that.
Quadruple yoy!
Let's go Steelers!
When are we going to stop doing this to Mike Tomlin?
We want them to be fat and sassy and spoiled.
We mock ourselves.
It's time for the show that Bryce K on YouTube says, finally, a podcast that's brave enough to talk about them Stillers with a level of seriousness ain't seen since Kennywood got sold. Thank you, Bryce. And that puts you, well, we remember, if you want to be in the running for a free copy of the Tomlin autobiography, we're looking for 2 reviews. So that counts as 1 on YouTube. Give us an iTunes review, Bryce. You'll get in the running. Woo. And then I know some others. I know Brian. There's been some others. So I got to look back. I don't know. Sometimes their code name on the Apple does not make it easy to determine who.
Okay.
So, maybe email me too if you're help me out.
If you've gone to that much trouble, what is it to send an email on top of that?
Just do it all. Just buy the book yourself. It's what Jen's talking about. The conversation about the Steelers' social media conversation, exposing all your hot and toxic takes. I'm Kyle Chrise. Across from me is Greg Benevent.
Hello.
And we're wearing our springtime hoodies.
It is so gloomy out here in Los Angeles. I do not get it today.
Yeah, we're getting ready. We're practicing for the 2026 draft with our springtime hoodies.
And with nonstop springtime rain.
Yeah, get your new yellow slicker, black and gold slickers. In the second half, a very special guest, 2-time All-Pro, All-90s NFL team, Number 99, Levon Kirkland steps into the spotlight.
I am so glad you got him, and I am so jealous. That is great.
We'll talk about his new book. He's a best-selling author now, and we'll talk about Super Bowl 30 and maybe even the Hall of Honor nominations if he thinks he's ready to be inducted.
Spoiler, he is.
He is, yeah. Spoiler, yeah. Narrator, he is. That's coming up in the second half, so hit fast forward now. Let's get to these toxic takes. Let's start with a little batting practice.
Okay.
OTA me, ASAP. First up, at RayFit1, Ray Fittipaldo, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Najee Harris declined an interview request following Tuesday's practice. He has not spoken since the Steelers declined his fifth-year option. This is great. I'm all about prove it, Najee, showing up for the voluntaries and doing the work, and forget the media. I don't want to talk to the media. I know Wex is like, oh, Najee's a jerk. He won't talk to the media, but I'm loving the volunteer aspect and the workmanship. Is that a word? Workmanship?
I mean, it is, and we're going to count it as working for this. I mean, I would just think the only thing less relevant than the football that happens in the OTAs are the interviews that happen following the OTAs. But, I mean, eventually Najee is going to have to say about it, and I'm sure what he's going to say is going to be some effect of, yeah, I'm just going to keep working hard. Yeah. So, I mean, he can either say that after this practice or he can say it after a subsequent practice. I'm just going to keep working hard comes for us all.
You know, it sounds like he and Tomlin have had the heart-to-heart. He got the Russ Wilson talk that you know, there's no problems there, and everyone seems to be on the same page. I'm loving it.
Yeah, I mean, he does have a chance to make a lot more money by having a great season than he would have had they put the deal on him. It's just he has less security, and as a worker, I understand that, but there is something to be said for embracing the opportunity.
Let's keep a little batting practice before we get to the hard hitting. This time it's from at @C_Adamansky Trib, Chris Adamansky, Tribune Review. The offensive line is warming up. You might notice left to right, the unit facing the camera. Dan Moore, Isaac Seumalo, Nate Herbig, James Daniels, right tackle, Broderick Jones. So it's set in stone. Now we know what the O-line is going to be come regular season.
Absolutely, yes. The entire draft was a failure, as we've seen here at our first OTA practice. I mean, I do think this is I like this idea better than the, hey, Kendrick Green, here's Marquise Pouncey's number as far as things go, but I think this is fine. I mean, give them something to learn from. At least you're seeing guys who have done this before in practice while the rookies figure it out. So, yeah, again, when I spoke moments ago about how the interviews at OTAs were only a little more irrelevant than the football, it was only by a small amount. Like, that was close. Neck and neck.
That'll be the last time that I address it.
Nope, I don't. I have a feeling it will not be. Yeah, let's keep the O-line talk going while we're here because along the same line of conversation, we've got at Dejan_Kovacic. Dejan Kovacic, DK Sports. Maybe just let the offensive line play itself out. Yeah. And he talked to, did he talk to Dan Moore? But he's got the quote about Dan Moore, which I think is, you know, for those trying to give him the pink slip, trying to give him the Canada treatment here. The quote is, you know, Moore expects to emerge as a leader, if not the leader, on the offensive line. I'm also aware of how much Mike Tomlin, Pat Meyer, and the coaches have admired Moore both on and off the field, and it's genuine. And I'm, you know, I don't want to say, oh, I want our first round pick to sit the bench, but I think if Dan Moore starts the whole season, I think that is a good thing.
It can be. Certainly, there's no reason to weep for Dan Moore regardless. Dan Moore is going to land on his feet. If Dan Moore doesn't start for this team, he'll start for another one. I do think there's maybe I feel like there is slightly a better chance this year that maybe the first round pick does start for him earlier versus later, just because this year doesn't start with Bosa and Myles Garrett and that murderer's row of pass rushers that last year did. I do kind of tend to think Dan Moore might start the season, but then as the schedule second half comes on, perhaps Troy takes him over then. But it's good to have. But regardless, this offensive line, they haven't always been good in the last few years, but they have been really safe from injury. And that's not going to stay that way regardless of who's starting on this offensive line. So having more capable offensive linemen, even if they aren't all stars immediately, can only be good.
I wonder if Moore has had the Tomlin talk. It's like, hey, you're not going to get the extension, this offseason that maybe you thought that could have been in play, but you can play good enough to earn, a $14 million contract.
You could earn the Chooks contract.
Yeah.
I mean, Chooks was no idea of a Pro Bowler, but he signed a good deal with the Steelers and a good one with the Pats. I mean, that life is out there for Dan Moore right now. Like, if the Steelers were to cut Dan Moore, they're not going to. But if they were, absolutely, somebody would sign him for good money, far more than you would think. And that is going to continue to be on the table for Dan Moore today and tomorrow.
I think so, and hey, and what if I don't even want to talk about why am I bringing up scenarios? But it's like, hey, if Dan Moore does have his Pro Bowl elevation, maybe you could move Troy Fontenot somewhere else.
I'm going to hold off on the Dan Moore Pro Bowl speculation.
Okay.
We might let that go by.
All right. Well, now that we've warmed up a little, let's get to the return of...
These are the new leads. These are the Glengarry leads.
The Glengarry leads are back.
Oh, thank God.
We've got the tweet from... at Mark Cabali. It's an insider serenade today. At Mark Cabali. Mark Cabali, The Athletic. What I hear coming out of the Steelers is that the players absolutely love Arthur Smith's offense. One told me that it's unreal. Why doesn't he just say who would have said that? Like Jaylen Warren says it's unreal. Why was it one person?
Why did he have to say it on background? Like, why couldn't he say it on the record? This offense, it's unreal. Keep it to yourself. I don't know. I mean, this all sounds great. Admittedly, I don't remember exactly what they were saying last year about Canada's offense. I doubt anyone was saying it was necessarily unreal. But it does seem, okay, either whether or not it's true that they want you to think that the offense is better and all that, they definitely want you to think and to know that they think the offense is better and unreal this year. So I'm going to take that at minimum as progress right now.
I mean, I don't remember. I think everyone had positive things to say about the Canada offense.
I think so too. And at this time, yeah.
Yeah, and don't forget that when Canada was hired, he was NFL Network's top 5 new coordinators or something. So expectations in May may be closer to your rearview mirror.
Right. I mean, the one thing I will say to that, and it just hit me now, but when Canada was hired as a rising star, it wasn't from having a successful track record as an NFL offensive coordinator. I mean, he'd done a fine job at Pitt and somewhere else that I totally forget. I don't remember if it was Clemson or Alabama now. But whereas Smith has actually made this work in a big boy stadium.
But Arthur Smith is, he is kind of the, I don't want to say the failed, but he's come off his pedestal as far as a head coach.
He couldn't win. He joins the long list of very intelligent people who couldn't win a Super Bowl with the Atlanta Falcons.
All right, enough. We'll have plenty to say about the Arthur Smith offense, I'm sure, this year.
It's unreal.
It's unreal. Unreal, meaning
it's a weird word.
It's fake.
Right, yeah. It's mind-blowing, man. Like...
Yeah, Tommy Chong endorses this offense. Okay, let's get serious. Let's talk Cam. In fact, let's go. We'll go straight to at Cam Heyward. Cam Heyward. That's a bold-faced lie, Jerry Dulac. Just because I don't answer your text doesn't mean I don't communicate with the team. You will not slander my name.
Wow.
This was in response to Dulac said that he hadn't really told the team what his plans were. He just came out on his podcast, and the Steelers weren't threatening to cut him his salary or anything. So he kind of put this all in Cam's court. But could his source have been, like, he may have been talking to a trainer, who his source doesn't mean that it was someone that Cam talked to. I mean, could there be some room between what Dulac is saying and what Cam is saying?
Oh, 100%. I mean, there's plenty of room for interpretation. The only thing I will say is that as you read this tweet right now here in the studio, I said, wow, under my breath, which is exactly what I did alone in my bedroom when I read this for the first time. I mean, there's certainly a room for interpretation, and with so many different people trying to find out so much information in a high-pressure environment, a lot of different things can happen. However, this is rare to see something like this, particularly for someone like Cam, who I don't think it's exactly a secret here that when he does retire, is going to go right into the media and do very well.
Well, usually this is the stuff that these guys, insiders, will say on the fan, but won't be willing to put in print. So the fact that
that's a good point.
That Dulac put this in print made it a little bit more, I don't want to say official, but it certainly seemed to give it a little bit more weight than just something that he went onto the fan and was talking,
Oh, 100%. And also because when you put it in print, Cam could respond like this.
Yeah.
He can't do it in between segments on the fan. I mean, we're all looking at Cam saying that is a bold-faced lie to somebody who we've seen cover the team for decades across generations of Steelers players.
So, well, of course, all he had to do was wait 24 hours and go straight to the source. Let's go to at Faribaugh FB, Nick Faribaugh. Mike Tomlin says he's not overly concerned with Cam Heyward being absent from OTAs. Well, that doesn't. I think he said more than that. Let's get the quote from Mike Tomlin himself as soon as the audio is ready.
But he and I talk often. As a matter of fact, we talked twice yesterday. But that's not an irregular thing. That's what we always do. Talk about not only where he is and what's going on with him, but where this team is. Because as a leader, he needs information in that regard. But he and I.
So, that's like, we talk like more than once a day. I don't talk to my wife more than once a day.
I was thinking the same thing. Like, what do you have to? You had to talk to Cam before and after practice. Like, you couldn't just email or text Cam, be like, "Oh, practice was good. They're coming along." Like, no, you had to give him a full, in-depth report as to what happened on the phone, and then, wow.
So like Tomlin's not worried. He's filling him in, but at the same time, would you give him an extension at this point?
I mean, I think I kind of thought maybe just off the reasoning, and again, I am very far from a numbers person, but that you could use the extension to give him more years and take that cap hit down and give him more money today. It seemed like an extension in this process is a win-win and a third win if you give him the that phrase that always sounds like something from science fiction, but is apparently now a part of contract, void years.
Oh, so you're willing to, pay some money down the road?
Yeah, because I think isn't that sort of what they're looking to do with Cam? That's what I read, and I'm guilty of being fallen for propaganda as much as anyone else. But you get a few more bucks today, and it's 3 years, and we see what happens after 2 years, and maybe the third year evaporates. I don't know.
I'm just, it's like, what is it that Cam really wants? It's obviously, I don't think it's money. He made $100 million in his career. I think his net worth is, it's like maybe $10 million. It's not, it's not like that he has $100 million in the bank.
Right.
But I can't imagine that cash on hand is a problem. So is it? Is it stability, the respect of not getting maybe not the same treatment that a Polamalu or, even a Hines Ward, maybe? I don't know.
Well, I wonder if is it even that complicated? Who wants to take a pay cut?
Well,
I almost wonder if it's like that. Like, it's, hey, I signed this contract. I want to keep working. And all the people who say they love me are the ones that say I should get less money. As I was reading about it, I'm like, I kind of see his point here. Like, I get that from an emotional level.
Well, and Ben had to take a pay cut his last year.
That's true.
I don't think that's on the table yet, right? I don't think that's they didn't, at least not for this season.
No.
Now, if you said, all right, you want an extension, well, next year you're making 20. If you're making 20 something this season, maybe next year you might make 15. Is that disrespectful?
I certainly wouldn't see it as such. No.
Well, yeah.
But in all seriousness, no. Just because again, Cam has proven to be, despite this past season struggling with injuries, and maybe 7 or 8 years ago he had some injuries as well. He has been very durable and consistent. So if there's ever somebody who you would look at maybe for this extension thing that could keep playing these years, it could be Cam.
How about let's get to some of the worst takes. Of course, the fans, when the fans aren't big Cam Heyward fans because there's not 97s in the stadium. That's, I think that's the most telling thing. Even though, maybe they're not offered in the airports like they are with, TJ.
I still have a
Mika.
97 Kendrell Bell.
Well, I have a 97 Heyward.
That's true,
Let's get to some of the worst takes just quickly. I don't want to spend too much time. At Rama Ishaya. Yeah, you can play in another league or with another team. Let the new generation play. Don't do what Ben did to the team. What did Ben put the team in a bad position by playing in 2021?
Well, first, you found a hater tweet by the world's biggest fan of Isaiah Loudermilk. I'm not sure who the fan of the team is. Like, yes, what this team needs is a more inexperienced defensive line. We need to get out more DeMarvin Leal. We need to get out more the new guy they signed, Dean Lowry. I don't even know his name, but no, that the another. If you didn't know, it was so weird about the thing about inexperience. It's when they say in another league. Yes, that's you should go to be relegated, Cam.
Yeah, you're getting demoted to the Resilience Bowl with Troy. Let's see.
He's heating up.
How about at Mona Brelier? Brelier. My advice to you: get a new agent. Stop acting like a crybaby by sitting out. It shows nothing but disrespect. Even though these were the voluntary, AB sat out voluntaries before and then didn't hold out. AB famously showed up in the black and gold Rolls Royce and was like, holdouts never work for anybody. So you're telling me that AB was smart enough not to hold out. We know what happened with Hines Ward and his holdout. He got the contract but said it was his biggest regret of his life. So you're telling me that Cam is going to eschew all that wisdom to do a holdout of his own? I really doubt it.
Yeah, especially someone that is so even more integral to the team's leadership than Hines or AB were at the height of their importance. Cam, and again, OTAs are a month where nothing happens. The veterans aren't doing anything, particularly the ones that have been there for more than a decade. So you're basically you're just unhappy that Cam isn't going to. It would be the equivalent of sitting in a cubicle. There's no reason for Cam to be there anyway. These people are driving me nuts.
Well, we've got the hottest. Oh, it's from at Burger Queen 6, Queen of the Berg. Man, you don't need another big plate fella. What is Cam put on weight? I haven't seen him yet this season.
I haven't either, but I do know that Cam is a defensive lineman in the National Football League. It is not a six-pack ab kind of job. You sort of need to look heavier. You can look heavy. You can look like you have a gut, but regardless, these people are unimaginably strong.
And it's not like he's Big Snack out there, right? I can't imagine.
Who was also fantastic at his job, in part because he was that size. Okay, it's weird. People just swoop in to make insults that don't make sense.
Shoot. We're going long. Let's why don't we take our break now?
Okay.
We'll come back in the second half with the Levon Kirkland interview. Plus, we got to talk Russ. We got to let Russ cook, and maybe Fields cook too. Maybe there's two chefs in the kitchen.
Excellent.
And and Troy's return to Acrisure Stadium. Woo. I want to touch on that when What Jin's Talking About returns for the second half. And Levon Kirkland, hold on.
Hey Kenny, how lucky are we, right?
I know. I can't believe it. It's truly a dream come true.
I know. I felt the same way back in the day.
Do you have any advice for me?
I would say have fun and really just savor every moment. After all, not everyone gets to be in a #1 Cochran commercial.
It's a great picture. Nice beard, Ben.
Thanks, bud.
Stop by any #1 Cochran store or visit Cochran.com.
Not bad, Kenny. Not bad at all.
All right, welcome back. I am super excited to introduce today's guest, two-time All-Pro, 90s NFL All-Decade Team, Clemson and State of South Carolina Hall of Famer, and now an Amazon bestseller, Levon Kirkland. Welcome to What Jin's Talking About.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Congratulations on the book, Run, Bonnie, Run. What inspired you to write this project?
You know, honestly, I was asked by a classmate at Clemson. She was telling me, like, man, we need a children's book. And I'm like, at first I was like, I don't know. I'm not really experienced at writing children's book. But then I did this thing for the Greenville Drive. And this guy helped me outline my whole story from my upbringing in Lamar, South Carolina, all the way through the pros. And I was just kind of sitting down and I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? I can use that outline to write a book because I'm basically telling my story. And what I did was I added, for the sake of young people, I added like two monsters, and the monsters were fear and doubt. And it basically talks about me going through my younger years, facing fear and doubt in order to go to the next level, which was Clemson University.
What was the biggest challenge? Was it to, be relatable to a younger audience, or what, just organizing everything?
Well, yeah, I think just organizing everything and also just being able to relate to younger people. That's why I kind of, I'm a big comic book reader.
Happy day.
There's some Kirkland.
Thank you.
And so it was, relating to it. Just, I think the reading comic books kind of had me relatable to young people. And I thought, like, man, if I add the monsters to it, that'd be kind of cool because it would attract young readers. And that's what I did, and voila.
Who were your big comic book? I'm a Spider-Man guy myself. What did you read?
I'm a Batman person myself. Yeah, I'm more so DC. I do like Marvel, but I'm more of a DC guy. And so I kind of just went with that imagination, and I basically just told my story. And I just thought, I thought it was a good story to tell. I was the first one out of my area, my high school, to go into the NFL. We've had 5 guys after me that's gone to the NFL as well. So I thought it was a good story for somebody coming from a small town, African-American. I thought it would work.
And this is the first in a series, right? You're planning to do more.
Yeah, this is the first in a series. I plan on doing 2 more. The second one is going to be about my time at Clemson University, and it's going to be called Bonnie Runs Down the Hill, because at Clemson we run down the hill. And then the third one is going to be about my NFL career, basically mostly in Pittsburgh, and it's about Bonnie Makes the Pros. So there you go.
Excellent. Congrats. What about, maybe for adult readers, a memoir or autobiography, anything like that maybe in the future?
Yeah, I'm thinking about 2 different ones. One is going to be called Thank You. And Thank You is basically, I got this idea from being in a missions and how people would give everybody thank you notes. And I was just thinking about, we normally don't tell people thank you. We wait to celebrate their lives after their lives are over. And I thought, what if I write something that thinks, that talks about my experiences? Like, I wrote, thank you draft, or thank you Clemson, or thank you Steelers, or, thank you to my brothers and sisters. And I just thought that would be kind of neat to write a book of like thank you letters,
Mhm.
but they're not just to people, but to different experiences. But you treat the experiences like they're people. For example, football. I kind of treated football like a girlfriend, and how we met and how we meshed, and even the breakup of football and what I learned from that relationship. So I talk about thank you and talk about football like it's almost a person.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, looking forward to that. You got your master's degree recently. Congrats to that. What inspired that decision to go back and get an advanced degree?
I didn't when I left college in '92. I didn't graduate, so and I always wanted to go back and graduate, and that's what I was going to do. But it took me a while because back then it wasn't really the internet, and you had to go back actually physically back to the school. And after I finished playing in the NFL, I was encouraged by my former wife, who's deceased, to go like, "Hey, you need to go back to school." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right." So I went back, and I thought, like, you know what? I just want my bachelor's degree. That'd be cool. And then when I got there, I saw people getting their master's degree, and I was like, I want to get that. I was like, I want to get my master's. And so it took me about a couple years to go get to the right place. And I was like, man, like this is the time. The NFL trust was paying for the tuition. So I'm like, well, I'm not taking advantage of it.
Awesome.
And got my master's, yeah.
That's inspirational. That's great. I just want to talk a little football briefly. Super Bowl 30, obviously a heartbreaking loss, but the defense held Emmitt Smith to 49 yards in that game, and I think 23 came on that first touch. Was there any kind of spiritual victory among the defense for that, despite the loss, for that kind of performance?
Well, I don't know if it was I don't think the defense would say it was, a win. But for myself personally, I thought it was a game that really kind of elevated me as a player. Because at that time, we had a great linebacker core, but I felt, like those guys were getting a little bit more pub than I was. But what I ended up doing was I really put myself aside and really started thinking about the team and how can I help the team win. And that year going in there, that's what I thought about, how I'm going to help the team win. And especially in that game, it was, it's not about being an individual, it's about being a teammate and a good teammate. And for me, it was a confidence booster to go in that game and play well and to win that game. So, yeah, it was uplifting for myself to do well in that, and I think it really carried my career. But as a defense as a whole, I think that it wasn't really a victory, even though we did well and we probably played well enough to win the game. There's no doubt about that. But, when it comes to that, it's about being a winner. They talk about the winners.
Yeah.
And when you lose a Super Bowl, you're just kind of a footnote. You're kind of a trivial question. So, but we had a really good defense, man. Was really proud of that team because we started off 3-4 and we really bounced back and we played well throughout the rest of the year. Had a chance to win the Super Bowl. It's just unfortunate that we didn't do it.
What do you remember about sacking Aikman in that game? I mean, that has to be a personal highlight.
Oh man, really, I kind of just like when he called the call, I was like, yes. I'm going to make a play here. And sure enough, man, I came through. The defensive end came in the A gap. Kevin Kevin went on the outside, and they kind of forgot to block me. So Emmett and the offensive tackle blocked Kevin, and I was wide open. And Emmett came at the last second, and he tried to cut me, and I was like, my instinct was like jump, and I jumped over him, and I swiped at Troy, and I guess it was enough of a momentum that I was able to make him go backwards. But I'm telling you, if Emmett doesn't come, I am going to kill Troy Aikman on that play. He has no idea that I'm coming. I'm going to knock him into next week. But it was a big play. It really was. And like I said, that play would have been remembered forever if we would have won the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I know you didn't play for Mike Tomlin, but he comes down there to, for the Clemson scouting every year. Do you have any impression of him, or do you have any relationship with him?
Yeah, I know Mike. I really like Mike Tomlin, and I was up there one time for an interim as far as minority coaches were concerned, and I would have loved playing for Mike Tomlin. I think he does a great job as far as getting his players engaged and making them take ownership. No different from Bill Cowher, no different from Chuck Noll. I really like Tomlin, and I like what he brings to the table. Hopefully this year he will continue to prove what a great coach he is. I think he's a great coach. I think Pittsburgh's lucky to have him. I think if you get rid of Mike Tomlin, he's going to get a job the next day.
Yeah.
So he's a dynamic coach. He really is, and I wish him only the best.
You were one of the nominees for the Steelers Hall of Honor this year. Is that what would that mean to you getting into something like that?
Oh, I didn't even know. Really?
Yeah, it's a drop-down menu they had of about 20 selections, and you were among the choices that fans could pick.
Oh man, well, that'll be great. I don't know if I would get in because although I was a really good player, I really think I represented myself well. I don't know if I was a fan favorite,
What?
Especially I'm just saying, I don't know if I was. I think that, they got so many guys that have gone through that are fan favorites, man, that especially you talking about teams from the Super Bowl. That's what people remember. I know they remember me and all that. I really hope that I do get in. I think I'm deserving.
Definitely.
There's no doubt.
Definitely.
I think I'm deserving. There's no question about that. I hope I do get in. I really do. I hope the fans do vote for me. I hope that they look back and remember the Blitzburg and what we represent, because we came in when the Steelers were not doing that well in the 80s, and I think we exploded in the 90s. I think we were dynamic. I think we were interesting. I think we were fun to watch. And so hopefully fans will look at that and they think like, man, that number 99, man, he could do a lot. He was a very versatile linebacker. I look, especially with the number. I think the number was the coolest thing about me. And the fact that I was a big guy and wearing 99, and that I was different. I can do things at my size that most people could not dream of doing. So I hope I do. I hope I do make it.
Yeah, the power.
Claim that I'm gonna make it this year.
The power and the speed. I still remember a play against Buffalo where I think you ran 30 yards, caught an interception over the head in the red zone. Players don't even do that today. So,
well, you know what's funny about that play? Can I tell you the funny part?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Play? That wasn't supposed to be my man. It was Chad's guy. Chad was playing outside linebacker. And in our coverage, in cover one, we kind of did like what we call a combo thing. So if the tight end goes outside, it's the outside backer. And if the back or somebody comes to me, then I got it. But I was kind of free in a hole, and I saw Chad didn't have his guy. He just let him go. And I was like, oh, holy cow. And I ran after him because I was making up for Chad. And the guy really was in front of me. And I was like, just run as hard as you can. And when he puts his hands up, put your hands up. Like when he goes to try to catch the ball, when he puts his hands up, put them up. And the ball landed short into my hands, and I just kind of grabbed it. So that really wasn't supposed to be my play. It's supposed to be Chad's coverage, but Chad didn't get the coverage, and I was just making up for Chad. And that's how I got the interception.
I don't think few in the league today could have that kind of athleticism. And so, yeah, that was that's.
I think few people in the league would have even thought about covering up for someone else.
Yeah.
That was the thing. I mean, we did such a good job of, having each other's back. It could have well been Chad having my back, but all four of us did a good job of always covering each other's back. And Chad just happened to let him go. It was his first time really playing outside linebacker, so I got it. And I saw him running. I'm like, oh shoot, he's wide open. I better try to run and get him. So I just took off running, and I got the interception. And I think we did such a good job of communicating to each other as well. So that kind of helped us out. But yeah, that's the story behind that interception.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I see the background. I hope everything is okay with you personally. Run Bonnie Run is available in Amazon, where it's already a bestseller. Mr. Kirkland, I really appreciate all your time today, and thank you so much.
Yeah, and your fans that watch the show, tell them to go on Amazon and support Run Bonnie Run.
Most definitely. We'll be giving some copies out to our listeners, and we'll have all that in the show notes as well. Thanks again for hanging out today.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
All right, take care. Wow. All right. So big ups again to Levon Kirkland. Appreciate that.
That's amazing. I'm so jealous you got to do that. I'm so glad you did. Thank you, Levon Kirkland, which is, I think this is the first time I've said that since 1998, but I sure said it a lot there in the 90s.
Make sure you pick up the book. It's in the show notes. It's great for your kid, or if you're on a third grade reading level yourself, then that's... All right, let's talk Russ, please.
Okay.
No, I lied. Let's talk Justin Fields.
Hey, going to be a lot of that in the next year.
Oh, yeah, at Mike DeFabo. Justin Fields says he communicated through his agents to the Bears that the Steelers were his preferred destination both before and after the Russell Wilson acquisition. This is talk about extreme volunteers v. hostages. This is he before Russ was in, and then even after, Kenny Pickett, where were you when Justin Fields wanted to pee in Pittsburgh?
I mean, one thing I'm struck by in this, other than the fact that Fields, I saw him say this in the clip, and he was very genuine. If he was making this up, the guy's a good actor. But also, the Bears were really accommodating. They really felt that they had to do right by Fields and getting him to Pittsburgh. And obviously, it helps that it's not like Pittsburgh's in the NFC North or anything like that. But wow, the Bears didn't have to be as nice about this as they were.
Yeah, it shows the respect that they had to him as their first round pick. So I'm excited. You know, it's like I don't know who I want. I want Russ now, but now I want Fields.
Well, I think there's time for Fields to learn to do it. I mean, I've heard what little I've managed. I haven't been able to keep myself from hearing about OTAs. Is that a lot of the reporters and beat guys do say stuff like the fans are going to see Fields do something amazing in a preseason game and want him to start immediately, not realizing that he could do a lot of turnovers very quickly. Yeah. And so I think maybe this is like the intellectual equivalent of that.
Let's talk Russ at News Network's live news feed. Breaking, Russell Wilson has NFL's highest checkdown percentage the last 2 seasons. Is that breaking? That's so
it's a very liberal definition of breaking.
Yeah. Is this a bad thing? You know, I think they were trying to talk like it might be a less than thing, but I'm wondering, you know who else checked down a lot? Peyton Manning.
Right.
And I think it was like 10% was his check down rate. And I'm thinking, is that this bad? I don't know.
Well, I think it's okay because what this doesn't say is the other context of Russell also went deep a lot.
Yeah.
And particularly will in this offense, the way it's being structured. So you can't go deep all the time, nor can you check down all the time. But what it sounds like is there's not a lot of intermediate passes going over the middle, which is something we've complained about for the last few years. But as I also remember for the last few years, there weren't a lot of deep passes then either. So if we're cutting up these checkdowns with the deep passes, I think I can live with, whatever other football critiques come from our friends at News Networks.
We've got the deep bombs of Bruce Arians mixed with the checkdowns of Matt Canada, and you've got the unreal Arthur Smith offense. One more thing on... No, how about 2 more things on Russ?
2 more things.
This might be a long show. At Jack Splat Attack. Okay. Jack Splat 58. Russell Wilson, 2023. 26 passing touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Patrick Mahomes, 2023, 27 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. It sounds like MVP return of Russell Wilson.
Yes, it's there's a lot going on in this, particularly in case you thought there was any context outside of this meme. You're helpfully given a picture of Mahomes with his head down, walking off of the field. You'll notice what this doesn't say anything about sacks, fumbles, or playoff stats. None of those finding their way into it. However, I don't think it's crazy to be a little excited about the quarterback play. It could very well be improved, even if Russell Wilson is not what Russell Wilson not was, but has been recently. It could still be improved. I don't think it's going to be better stats than Patrick Mahomes, but it could be a significant increase from what we've seen. It just will also most likely be a significant increase in turnovers as well.
You don't know what you're talking about. Like it's just annoying.
Well, let's see, Ben. We'll see. Okay, yeah. Who knows what? If Russ threw 26 and 8 this year, I mean that's better than Kenny, right?
It would be. I mean, it's just you're adding in. There's going to be more fumbles, and there's going to be some sacks. He's going to take. Not that Kenny didn't take a lot of sacks, but I mean Russell's the most sacked quarterback. He's going to take some sacks. He's going to fumble the ball. But if the defense is better, if the running game is better, then it could all balance out to a better team.
Last thing on Russ for this week. At Soph_Oakland. Soph Oakland for life. Scene, Russell Wilson and Sierra dressing way too extra for Primanti Brothers. Is this extra? I'm like, yeah, all the fools are going to the new Shake Shack opening, waiting in line. Russ and Sierra to the nines, splitting the Primanti. That's the only thing. They're splitting one sandwich.
I assumed this was Photoshopped. If it's not, I don't know. I mean, maybe I just assumed it was.
Maybe it is.
I don't know if it is or not. I mean, I do know, unfortunately, I believe it's actually pronounced South Oakland.
Sorry.
No. I'm sorry that I wish I didn't know that. But I mean, I assumed this was Photoshopped. But here's the thing: even if it was Photoshopped, this joke exists for a reason. Because this is only mildly an exaggeration of what these two have done in the past.
It's a good photo. I'm trying to look. It's pretty good.
Maybe it's real. I don't know. I mean,
no, I see. You know, he put his. I see the little the little watermark now from.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, but
from South Oakland.
But again, it's the jokes lodged in truth kind of thing. These two are totally fine with dressing up, and they look very good wherever they go. And sometimes they dress up a bit too much because, again, these are two people with global brands, much of which encompass fashion, who now live in Pittsburgh.
You are right. Oh man. I would love to, yeah. I thought they were wise because they skipped the Shake Shack line and went to.
They did. Well, but they also didn't go to Shake Shack, which proves they are wise. I mean, I was never impressed with it out here. Were you?
I'm not waiting in line for. I know it's a new thing, you know. Now, if there was a new Long John's opening, all right. Well, I think that the band is the band all around it. Where's the band?
There they are. We're coming out of the tunnel.
Kirkland's on the show this week, and yeah. Okay, let's. We're gonna skip the Tomlin hate for this week.
Yay!
Let's just go straight to. At baddest bear Jew, Jared Kane. I'm in my feels, man, and it's Coach and Troy Polamalu. This was right before actually the Troy Polamalu. What's it called?
The Resilience
Bowl. And I'm just happy because if you read Tomlin's biography, it kind of made the implication that Troy wasn't really happy with Tomlin on how he went out. So
he wasn't.
I'm good to see him here, hugging Coach and see him return for his celebrity thing. Although, I kind of was hoping that flag game would be a little more competitive than what it turned out to be.
I mean, it's a flag football game of celebrities and all-time greats who are not young.
Yeah, and the teams were pretty unbalanced. I think the white team was like Troy, Ben, Bus, Debo, Kurt Angle, and then the black team was like Byron Leftwich, Chris Kirkpatrick, the dude from Whose Line Is It Anyway? It was just like, and they weren't playing man on man. I think they were all playing zone D. I was just hoping for a little bit. I don't know what I was hoping.
I was just trying to imagine how many children turned to their parents and said, "Who's that guy?" and pointed to the guy from Whose Line Is It Anyway? As the parents tried to explain improv comedy to children.
Well, I think the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette's write-up was like celebrities including Steve Byrne, and I'm just like, Steve Byrne I don't know if he's a bigger celebrity than Chris Kirkpatrick from NSYNC.
Well, but Steve Byrne also had the sitcom that takes place in the Pittsburgh bar. So I mean, like that. But you're right. I agree with you.
What you had to have like UPN to see that or something.
I think so. Yes, I think you had to. Yeah, you had to adjust your coax cables.
In fact, digression here. When I was on the Late Late Show with my band, and Billy Gardell was the host, and Steve Byrne was the guest, and I said, "Hey, didn't I see you at Flappers Comedy Club, where they were like promoting that show?" And he was like, "Definitely not." And I was like,
"I had never heard that."
Just like, okay, dude,
wow.
okay,
wow.
So, I need people to download my album. I need to get into the Resilience Bowl. Maybe not next year. Maybe it's going to take me a while, but...
Well, I assume the Resilience Bowl is going to be like the Super Bowl. We'll start adding Roman numerals as we go.
Yeah. So, stream my 2 albums, please, on Spotify. I need about 6 million more streams to pay off my parking tickets. So, all right. I think we are... let's wrap this. Wrap it up? I think we're done. Is it... Anything?
I think so too.
Let's get out of here.
That's what we've been talking about.
Get Kirkland's book, Run Bonnie Run. That's on Amazon, already a bestseller. Follow us on social media. I'm on TikTok at Kyle Chrise. Greg, how about yourself?
On Instagram at Greg Benevent. B as in boy, E-N-E, V as in Victor, E-N-T.
Write those iTunes reviews and a second review to get in the running. We're going to be giving away that Tomlin book, and I'm going to be giving away this Kirkland book as soon as those arrive. Woo. So lots of giveaways. We've still got now collector's items with the Blame Canada stickers. So a lot of merch. I
think the Blame Canada stickers are funnier now.
Oh yeah. Now it's a now it's it might be an inside joke. Is it? Have we already moved on? Have we forgotten? I don't know. All right. Until next week, keep listening to your coach.
Be their best selves. That's going to be required.
Stay in school.